Alice was awestruck. She wanted to know about the drugs. How did they make me feel? Great, I said. You liar, bitch, Etta, you liar. You forgot to say, oh, it feels great as long as you got it. But then when you don't got it, you have this meltdown over here where your ass is shaking and shivering all over the toilet, itchy and scratching. That's what you forgot to tell Alice, you dirty bitch, you. Bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please remember to hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a small monthly fee of $5. You babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's talk about Etta James and David Ritz of Rage to Survive. And today, we're going to talk about the top 10 scandalous facts about Miss Etta James. Now, the last time that I was here in front of you all, we discussed Sammy Cookie, okay? Then we ended it with, you know, she tried to buy a baby down there to Mexico. She paid somebody $300 to go down to Mexico to pick up a baby, but the dude got missing with her money. Girl, that was a whole hokey pokey scam right there, okay? I know you didn't expect for that one to go right, okay? And then be okay with the Jesus? No. Next, after that, she got a sub baby from a couple who the daddy was on the dippers real hard, but then the mother realized that she wanted to get her baby back. And then here we are at number 1. Etta James can definitely work while getting high. Some people, you know, they can do smoke, push, shoot, whatever it is they do, and it become their full-fledged job. They don't need a job because their number 1 job is now to chase whatever it is they chasing. So now what we know about Etta James is that Etta James can chase the dragon while singing her ass off. Remember we talked about Etta James was the baddest bitch ever? Okay? I'm telling you, there is no other person as bad as Etta James, and she is not just the bad girl. She is, well, I would say Ricky James was the bad boy of the industry, but Etta James is definitely the bad girl of the industry. Number 2, that bitch got her cousin Alice hooked on that junkie. I'm not sure what happened to my record royalties. I'm not sure whether Leonard ever paid any. If he had, though, you know damn well I'd have shot it up in no time. Mainly, it was gigging in the black clubs in the neighborhoods of the big cities that kept me in business. In LA, things were so funky, I had to rent out my house on Athens, which is, you know, she lovingly calls it the fort, because she needed the money. That's when I moved in with my cousin Alice. Bless her heart. Alice was my playmate from childhood. She and her family cheered for me when I sang in church. They were my middle-class family in Pasadena. When Mama Lulu died and Dorothy snatched me up and took me to Frisco, I was out of touch with Alice for years. When I left, I was little James Etta. When I came back and Alice came to see me sing, I seemed to be saying, look, Alice, I'm Etta James. I'm all grown up. I'm built nice. I got blonde hair and I got at last. I go with one of the moon glows, and this is my Cadillac. And by the way, that is my heroin. Alice was awestruck. She wanted to know about the drugs. How did they make me feel? Great, I said. You liar, bitch, Etta, you liar, bitch. You forgot to say, oh, it feels great as long as you got it. But then when you don't got it, you have this meltdown over here where your ass is shaking and shivering all over the toilet, itchy and a scratching. That's what you forgot to tell Alice, you dirty bitch, you. I was snorting then, and she said, give me some. She dug it. And just like that, my cousin, always so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, followed me down that path. She started out with skin popping. So let me tell you what a skin pop is. If I'm wrong, people can tell me. Okay. So skin popping is when, you just take the little needle and stick it up underneath your skin and it'll soak in eventually, okay? Mainlining is when you shoot that thing straight in your vein and it goes straight there. Skin popping is just old subtle, subtly, okay? Because it's almost like putting lotion on your skin. And then if you want to be a junkie, I tell her, you're going to have to hit yourself. And she did. When I was in financial and emotional doldrums in the mid-60s, Alice was my refuge. She was divorced from her husband and taking care of her 2 kids. Bitch! So you mean to tell me this girl had 2 kids and you showing her how to shoot dope? So we got a little story before we move on, okay? So Etta, she get up because you know how people wake and bake. Etta gotta wake and shoot, okay? The damn house is on fire. You heard me. The house is on fire, okay? Fire, girl. She can't do nothing until she get her daily dose. So she go into the bathroom, start, putting stuff together, okay, so she can get her day started. The police banging on the door, the firefighters banging on the door. Lady, you might want to come out of there. The house on fire. When them people told her that the house is on fire, Etta James said, the bathroom ain't on fire. I'll be out when I get done. Ooh, that's some drugs I don't want none of. At one point, getting high was getting me so distracted, I had Alice check me into USC County Hospital to kick it. What about Alice, girl? What about the Alice, right? Now, she's not saying that Alice was hooked. Alice was one of those people who could, pick it up and put it down. I had an uncle like that, okay? Uncle like that, and believe it or not, that nigger did not die from dope. Okay? He did not die. That man had been picking up and putting down dope his whole life. He was the coolest uncle you'll ever meet. He'll also put 3 in you. When I got out, I was feeling better. Once again, I managed to kick my dope dependency. Too bad I wasn't aware of how my other dependency on rotten men was just dangerous. Billy Foster was the next man in my life. Child bang. Number 3. Etta James liked the dark meat. Billy Foster was raw chicken. He was the lightest man I'd ever gone with. I met him during a period when I was clean, fresh out of the USC County Hospital and feeling halfway good. He was fresh out of prison. He'd been a singer, but was really a nickel-dime hustler. When I met him, he was selling hot clothes at the 5-4 ballroom. In fact, first thing he said was, hey, I got this real pretty black dress that looks like it's made for you. I tried it on and gave him $50. Of course you got $50 now, since you ain't doing all that dope. Things were looking up for me at least a little. I stopped living at Cousin Alice's, stopped crashing on people's couches. I was tired of waking up, half smashed, and hearing folks whispering, Etta James is in there. That's Etta James on our couch. Etta James, the singer, in there. That's her. Oh yeah, everyone knows she's a junkie, but she's going to stay here a while. We're not worried. As 1965 bled into 1966, I was starting to get a grip on myself. Flew up to Chicago where I recorded a duet with my old friend from San Francisco. Nutty, wild-ass sugar pie DeSanto. I dug Singing in the Basement, a song that took us back to when we were kids, cutting up, smearing on lipstick, kissing on boys, being a bad gang girls with our homemade tattoos and floppy jeans. By then, Motown's teenage music had really caught on. Now moving on to number 5. Leonard Chess was no Berry Gordy. Leonard Chess didn't have the kind of smarts. He threw you in a studio and told you to sing. Barry was super concerned that his artist appeared respectable. He set up this charm school so Martha and her Vandellas and the Temps knew how to curtsy and bow when they met the Queen of England. He dressed his women to look like dolls and his men to look like penguins. Leonard Chess never thought twice about that shit, and neither did I. While Barry was working ways so that Marvin and Smokey's Miracles could appear on the Ed Sullivan Show, I was still working local dives. Now, I ain't blaming no one. Given my wild ways, I was lucky to be working at all. And besides, even if Chess had set up some charm school to make me appear acceptable to the white world, I'd laugh. The Queen of England is going to have to take me the way that I am. I can dig it, but that's why you stayed in them honky tonks, okay? And that's why the Temptations and the Supremes, okay, was over there on the Ed Sullivan Show. But you know, she ain't worried about chasing Ed Sullivan. Well, right now she ain't chasing the dragon. But you know, she won't eventually chase that back to Billy, okay? The raw chicken, okay? Because you know she like that dark meat. All right, back to Billy. I think my rebellious nature drew me to Billy. Reminds me of that tune, Ain't Nobody's Business. You know that song. If I took a notion to jump into the ocean, ain't nobody's business if I do. So here comes someone who I thought was Mr. Cool, Mr. Tough, Mr. Take Care of Business. Well, Mr. Wonderful turned out to be Mr. Disaster, okay? Because you know that girl can't find her a good nigga if somebody paid her to get a good nigga. Number 6. Billy got the nigga, okay? Now let me break this one down because I want to tell you this in my own words, okay? Because I like to encourage women to be free, girl, to be free, okay? So remember when she was messing with the pimp, okay? She cowered. No, don't hit me, motherfucker. She cowered, okay? But when it came down to this Billy Preston got them hands. You heard me. He got them hands. She said that she was scared of the pimp because, you know, the pimp had a reputation of, you know, putting one in girlfriends or choking them to death or, you know, whatever. Okay, so she was scared of him. She was scared to fight back. But she said by the time she got to Billy, she was hip to the game. Oh, no, you're going to fight this one back. She said she wasn't saying that he didn't have times where he, you know, really, really hurt her. But she said there were also times that she fought back. Ladies, I'm telling you something good. One time, remember I told you I was messing with that dirty dick, okay, from Texas? I caught his ass cheating, right? This is in the beginning. I should have left. But like I said, we all go through these periods where, you know, we just do dumb shits and we cannot explain why we go through it, right? I ain't never had nobody put their hands on me. And if they did, believe me, we gonna fight to the death, okay? Now, I might be effed up at the end of the day, okay? But niggas, if you put your hand on me, we gonna fight. We know that for the most part, we're not powerful enough to, you know, square up with a ninja, okay? Even though I've seen some ladies that have squared up with ninjas before. But anyway, my cousin is one of, you know, Mick, okay? But that's, okay, we're not gonna go there. So anyway, what happened was the Texan, I had caught his ass cheating, okay? Then what he thought he was going to do was bully me into backing down. Answer no. He was hovering. You heard me. He was hovering, you know, yelling in my face and everything. When I tell you I looked up at that nigga, I said, let me tell you something. Just let me stand up and I'm going to give you the fight of your motherfucking life. Because he was hovering. And the position that I was in on the couch, if I would have stood up, he could have pushed me back down. I said, just let me stand up. Let this be a square fight. He backed off. That's all I was doing. I was like, I wish this nigga would. I would take his bitch ass down. Okay? So anyway, and I stayed with him after that. And he kept cheating after that, child. Back to the Billy Foster part, okay? Billy Foster was beating on her one time, okay? And she, in her feelings, like, why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? She said that crazy motherfucker said to her, bitch, I'm God. He was an atheist. She said she already felt funny having no atheist pickle inside of her, okay? But that didn't stop her from messing with her, because you know how Etta James is. If it ain't wrong, it ain't right. Number 7. I didn't know you could go to jail for needle marks. Hold tight. It took a while. It took years. But I finally realized that Billy was really a wannabe pimp. He hung out at after-hours joints like Frank's Veterans Club on Broadway and Slauson, where he tried to catch waitresses, but he didn't even have the looks or chops to be a legitimate pimp. I'd hear about Billy when I'd get thrown into Sybil Brand, the women's prison on Eastern Avenue. LA had this under the influence law. If you were caught with tracks on your body or drugs in your possession, you automatically got 90 days. Well, I served plenty of those 90 days. Me and Foster would get busted. He'd hand me the shit. I had the tracks. And I'd take the rap. On the nigga, no. Oh my God. The thing, do you know how many women, listen, Clarence, listen. Y'all know I used to be an XPO, okay? Do you know that the majority of the women that I had on probation, they were on probation because they either stabbed up some bitch, okay, that was hunching on that man that really wasn't that man anyway, or they took the beat for that dude. Are you still with the nigga, girl? No, I'm not. I was curious. I wanted to know why he hated women. If you hate women, I told him, you must hate your mama. I do. He said, I hate her because she died and left me. Later on, I found out that his mama had died of syphilis when he was only 3. Syphilis that came out of his father's pickle. So you mad at your mammy because your pappy gave your mammy syphilis and she died from syphilis? The next one. 8. She wanted Ickety-Ickety's D. Now, we touched on this before, okay? She ain't say, that she was hunching the D, okay? But she wanted the Ickety-Ickety's D, even though she knew that he was whooping Tina Turner's ass. I wasn't the only one with a troubled relationship. Take, for instance, Ike and Tina Turner. Ike was a promoter as well as a great band leader. He had the after-hours business in Black LA locked. Ike ran a show like clockwork. You were on and off in a flash. No long jams, no endless vamps, bim, bam, thank you, ma'am. We were running in the same circles. He'd come up with the ideas like the battle of the girl singers. Etta James versus Tina Turner. Now, she's saying to herself, how can that happen? Okay, because I think they both got that down and dirty, raunchy type style to them, right? Etta and Tina thought it was stupid because they like, wait a minute, hold on. Etta sings good like Etta and I sing good like Tina, okay? Tina Turner. For all his manipulation, or maybe because of them, I found Ike attractive. In those days, he wasn't doing drugs, at least not in front of me. Fact is, Ike was one of the cats who used to warn me, used to say drugs would eventually do me in. Ike always took an interest in me. Once he hit on me, and out of curiosity and a certain fascination I've always had for him, I didn't turn him away. There you go. There you go. There's the proof. There you go. She hunched him. And that's all you're going to say about it, guy? That's all you're going to say? You ain't going to break it down and talk about how big his ding-dong was? Nothing about that? You ain't going to talk about the good love he got? It happened over at the fort on Athens. I wondered whether it was part of his plan to build a rivalry between me and Tina. Turned out to be a one-time thing. Neither one of us was thunderstruck. Oh, that's why. That's why. Okay? That's why. It wasn't good to him. Or you. In those days, Tina, like lots of us gals, was still in a bubble. She had beautiful beaded dresses and 3 mink coats. Look what Ike bought me. Okay, now let's talk about Tina. Okay? Tina still being young, right? She is so fascinated by the fact that her dude is buying her all these different gifts, keeping her up in the room, keep your ass upstairs, Tina Turner, because I ain't told you to, speak yet. But she loves talking about how good her dude is doing her, okay? One day, she was showing off a ring that Ickety-Ickety had bought her. Now, it was not on her finger. It was in her purse. Okay? She was showing Etta, oh, look at this ring that Ickety Ickety bought me. Put it out of her purse, put it on her finger. Okay? Ickety Ickety came in the room and caught that ring on her finger and whooped her ass.
What did I tell you about this ring, girl? Don't be showing these bitches that I done gave you a ring. I fucked her.
Parties at his house in Baldwin Hills became a hangout for the super hip and R&B crowd. The scene was a double after-hour affairs. After the normal gigs and after the De La Show after-hour sessions, you go up to Ike's. If you were invited for breakfast or brunch, there were usually a few Ikeettes around, and Tina would stay in her room. Number 9, Larry Williams is the Dundada. Hold tight, let me talk about him, okay? On the surface, the vibe at Ike's was mellow. Party people getting down on eggs, sausage, pancakes, and oodles of maple syrup. It was not an out in the open dope scene, at least not when I was there. If I was in one of those dirty periods, I'd sneak into the bathroom and get high on the slide. The drug culture creatures, me, Bobby Womack, Larry Williams, would sit there and listen to Ike's long raps about how we better take care of our business. Ike was a ruthless businessman. I know he had some crazy dope days, but they came later. In the mid-60s, he was still the stern schoolmaster, and it felt like we were his disobedient students. Larry Williams might have been the most disobedient of them all. You'll remember Larry as the bony Maroney and short fat Fanny man. He was a New Orleans boy who moved to Oakland, sung with the Lemon Drops, and hooked up with Lloyd Prince as a piano player. His only hits came in 1957. He kept trying, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, You Bug Me Baby, but he could never come up with another smash. That didn't keep him from making money. Truth is, he had bread when most of us was broke. Let me tell you why. Larry Williams was a goddamn cat burglar, okay? While all these people around here relying on music to give them money, Larry Williams was scaling the walls, breaking into people's houses and stealing their shits, okay? And the girls that he was using, because he was a pimp also, okay? The girls, if they couldn't sell pussy and steal, he ain't gonna hire. Once they hunch the dudes, you know they gotta rob the dudes, okay? What was that movie that Cardi B did with Jennifer Lopez? The Hustle? Something like that. It didn't do good. They thought it was gonna do good, but the movie did nothing, okay? But they was doing that long before Cardi B ever thought about it. I'm telling you, it's the oldest game in the book. You sell the pussy, you steal the wallet. Number 10, Billy Foster killed my dog. I had my hands filled with Billy Foster. For a while, we tried to live the country life out at his aunt's place in Lancaster. I was driving a pickup and staying clean, trying to keep my head clear. I liked the fresh air. Getting away from the city did me a world of good. Besides, Uncle Nick and Aunt Cat, we lovingly called Cat, were good folks.
But we couldn't stay in Lancaster for long. I had to work. Seattle turned out to be our next stop. And for a few days, Billy was cool. Then he started drinking and flipping out all over again. We were riding around the city with my big chocolate German poodle that Jesse Belvin gave me. Billy loved to show off the poodle, taking him out to bars and parties. The dog didn't like that. He was high-strung and quirky.
Let my dog be, I'd say, but I was ignored. Well, this time, when Billy opened the car door, the poodle ran out into traffic and was hit by a truck. By the time we got to the vet, my dog was dead. That led to another bloody fight. I got my blows in, but Billy started punching on me so hard I landed in the hospital. Not, though, before I pressed charges. The Seattle cops have pictures of me looking like I'd been tortured and burned. The man who got Billy out of jail was Fillmore Slim. From Seattle, I went to Anchorage, Alaska, to work the North Star Lounge. We arrived in winter, and the place was spooky. It was always dark. We were living in perpetual nighttime. On the plus side, as winter turned to spring, I became pregnant in Alaska. One time after I became pregnant, he beat me so bad I called the cops and put his ass in jail again. When we got out, he begged for forgiveness and swore off booze forever. I was dumb enough to believe him. or maybe just too scared of being alone not to believe him. I was also busy forging doctors' prescriptions for drugs. I wasn't using street drugs in Alaska, but found a scheme to cop prescription drugs. I'd met a woman named Barbara, a prostitute and a madam who was a spitting image of her. Sometimes she'd go into the doctor's office and steal prescription pads, then give them to me. Or sometimes I'd get the pads. For a while, the scam worked. Then we got caught. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. Now, remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one. Peace. Ain't nobody's business.